Korea, police chase an ostrich on the loose after breaking free from a zoo.
Operatives say the flightless bird has been captured using a net at a car park. More details on this later in the news. Good evening, I am Gianna Llanes.
I am Nina Richie Elago Flores. This is Mata ng Agila International. Now for the headlines. The NSC rejects China's claims that Philippines agreed to tow away BRP Sierra Madre from Ayungin Shoal.
DOST warns Filipinos of extended dry spells ahead of La Nina phenomenon.
6 workers are still missing after a bridge in Baltimore collapses.
Severe floods in Mozambique claim at least 4 lives and injure 50,000 people.
And world's first Dragon Ball theme park to rise in Saudi Arabia.
Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Nevada,
España, Paris, France,
United Kingdom,
Washington, D.C.,
London Bureau, Papua New Guinea,
in New York,
Washington, D.C.
Mata ng Agila, Mata ng Agila,
Mata ng Agila International.
Trusted, connected, on point.
The National Security Council has rebuffed China's claims that Manila and Beijing entered an agreement during the past administration regarding the West Philippine Sea. NSC Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya argued that the agency was unaware of any agreement between China and the Philippines referred to by former Secretary Harry Roque. Malaya insisted that Roque should be the one to explain to the public his claims. Malaya, however, noted that if such an agreement exists, it violates the Philippine sovereignty as a nation. Roque previously said that former President Rodrigo Duterte reportedly had a verbal agreement with Beijing not to construct and repair Philippine facilities in the West Philippine Sea. This includes halting resupply missions and delivering construction materials for BRP Sierra Madre. Roque, however, claimed that his agreement does not involve the removal of BRP Sierra Madre from Ayungin Shoal. The former secretary added that the said agreement was non-binding on the term of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. Meanwhile, Malaya stressed that China has been continually violating the Declaration of Conduct and not the Philippines. Malaya noted that China has been interfering with the country's routinary resupply mission, which includes water cannoning, pulling of dangerous maneuvers, and other aggressive and illegal actions.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, has announced that it will change its approach in executing resupply missions in the West Philippine Sea. This is after China Coast Guard's water cannoned a Philippine Navy ship, injuring its military personnel en route to Ayungin Shoal. In a statement, AFP Chief General Romeo Bronner Jr. said, and I quote, "The whole world is watching us, so let us continue with our determination and resolve to accomplish our mission and the conduct of our RORE operations." The AFP chief visited a Western Command and inspected the injured personnel's conditions in Palawan. Bronner also advised the troops to continue their great performance as the whole world is witnessing their determination to resolve and achieve the nation's mission to complete rotation and resupply operations in the disputed territory.
The Department of Science and Technology, or DOST, has cautioned Filipinos to prepare for an extended dry spell and to maintain water-saving practices as El Niño transitions into La Niña in the coming months. DOST Secretary Renato Salidum Jr. made this announcement following a meeting with President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., indicating a 62% probability of La Niña occurring between June and August. La Niña, a weather phenomenon opposite of El Niño, is marked by stronger trade winds leading to warmer water and increased rainfall in the Asian region. This also raises the risk of floods and landslides in vulnerable areas. However, the pre-developing La Niña, characterized by below normal rainfall, is expected to delay the onset of the rainy season, exacerbating the impacts of the ongoing El Niño.
The National Irrigation Administration, or NIA's head Eduardo Guillen, has disclosed that the government is eyeing to build 20 new dams by 2028 to meet the country's growing demand for water and power. In a statement, Guillen said, and I quote, "What our president wants now is for us to build high dams so that we have a long-term solution." Because he said when you have a high dam, you have irrigation, you have flood control, you have power generation, domestic water, there is aquaculture. The NIA aims to build dams such as the Tumawini Dam in Isabela, the Jalaurg Dam in Visayas, and other dam projects in the Panay River Basin, Ilocos Norte and Ilocos Sur. Guillen recalls that it was 50 years ago during the time of Marcos Sr. that the country had projects as such. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is expecting to finish 4 large dams by the end of his term in 2028.
As the majority of Filipinos enter vacation mode, authorities stress the importance of safety precautions for a worry-free getaway. Before leaving your residence, ensure all doors and windows are securely locked and double-check that no cooking appliance, candles, or electronics are left unattended. If you are departing without leaving instructions for trusted friends or family members, avoid posting signs indicating an empty home. Consider installing CCTV or an alarm system for added security. Before leaving, conduct a thorough vehicle check using the blow baguettes method: brake, lights, oil, water, battery, air gas, engine, tire, and self. While driving, maintain a defensive driving approach, while for public transportation, refrain from displaying valuable items such as jewelry and keep a close eye on your wallet and cell phone. Remain vigilant of suspicious packages or individuals, especially in crowded areas. If traveling with children, advise them to stay close and avoid strangers, and they ensure they carry identification such as an ID or name tag in case of separation. Last but not least, familiarize yourself with the location of nearby first aid stations and police assistance booths for emergency.
The Philippine Embassy in Washington has assured that no Filipino has been caught in the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, Maryland. In a statement, Consul Mark Dominic Lim said, and I quote, "The Philippine Embassy in Washington, D.C. is strictly monitoring the situation following the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, Maryland. There was no Filipino citizen at the bridge and on the cargo ship sustained injuries or killed in the incident." The embassy noted that they are still confirming the possible presence of Filipino crew members aboard the Singaporean flagged ship that hit the bridge. Meanwhile, local officials have placed Baltimore in a state of emergency. The National Transportation Safety Board in the U.S. has started an investigation into the incident to trace the cause of the collision. The Federal Bureau of Investigation clarified that the incident has no connection to any acts of terrorism.
The Department of Health, or DOH, says the number of pertussis cases in the country has reached 568, with 40 deaths from January 1st to March 16, 2024. Data shows Metro Manila has the highest number of pertussis infections at 58. Some 28 new cases were recorded from March 10 to 16. The regions with the most number of local government units showing cases or case increases are Calabarzon, the National Capital Region, Western Visayas, Mimaropa, and Central Visayas. Of the total confirmed cases among all regions, the DOH says at least 6 out of 10 cases were infants below 6 months old. 3 out of 4 of these infants were either unvaccinated or with unknown vaccination history. Close to 7 out of 10 of the total number of cases, regardless of age, either failed to receive any immunization or with unknown vaccination history. The health agency observes that the number of new pertussis cases did rise from the weeks of February 4 and 11, or 122 cases, to the weeks of February 18 and 25, or 149 cases. Pertussis cases have gone down to only 73 new cases in the weeks of March 3 and 10.
The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, says it is gearing up to further secure the automated election system to be used in next year's midterm polls against cyber attacks. The pole body chief's remarks came in response to the National Security Council's warning of possible foreign interference in the forthcoming midterm elections. COMELEC chairperson George Erwin Garcia says the pole body's information technology is ready for cyber attacks, insisting that their stakeholders remain vigilant against such attacks. Chairman Garcia explains that preparing the automated election system early ensures that the system is tested and all security measures are put in place. Coming up, 6 still missing after the Scott Key Bridge collapses in Baltimore. Tunisia court sentences 4 individuals to death for assassinating politician. And Nuclear Forum 2024 kicks off in Russia. Stay tuned with Agila International. We'll return for more global news.
This sport.
Agreed to do something for himself and his staff and discovered the world of a unique franchise model. Our guest, Ran Makadangdang, business owner and mentor from the House of Franchise, together with his partner, Aliza Landicho. Find out the franchise formula that led to fulfilled dreams, and let's explore the power of teamwork, mentorship, and resilience only here at Open for Business.
Sabi nga namin, yung success namin, it's not luck. Lahat ng to, dinaan namin sa hard work dahil kahit sa pagtatrabaho mo, kailangan mong magsipag para umangat ka sa trabaho mo.
Open for Business with Cesar Vallejos, Sunday, 9 p.m.
Sunday 25.
Welcome back to Mata ng Agila International. Described as a mass casualty multi-agency incident, the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse in Baltimore, Maryland has halted ship traffic and transportation operations in one of the busiest ports in the United States. Search, rescue, and recovery operations are a priority as 6 of the 8 construction workers reported to have been on the bridge when it collapsed are still unaccounted for. From the Baltimore area, Rosel Feria gives us an update.
Recovery efforts in search of victims and vehicles believed to be underwater went on all day Tuesday after the collapse of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge. The 1.6-mile-long 4-lane crossing was struck by a 984 feet long container ship shortly before 1:30 Tuesday morning. Maryland Transportation Secretary Paul J. Whitfield says 6 people believed to be part of a construction crew working on the Key Bridge are still unaccounted for. Whitfield says the crew was fixing potholes on the bridge when the incident occurred. Baltimore City Fire Department Chief James Wallace says 2 people were pulled out of the water. One is uninjured, the other taken to a nearby hospital and is in very serious condition. Maryland Governor Wes Moore says the bridge was up to code at the time of the collapse.
But I have to say I'm thankful for the folks who once the warning came up and once notification came up that there was a mayday, who literally by being able to stop cars from coming over the bridge, these people are heroes. They saved lives last night.
U.S. National Transportation Safety Board Chairperson Jennifer Homendy says the Singapore-registered vessel named Dali made contact with Francis Scott Key Bridge at around 1:30 a.m., a few minutes before smashing into it.
The vessel is 985 feet long. It's a 95,000 gross ton container ship. I've seen information about crew members on board. We still need to verify the numbers of crew on board and their status.
Special Agent Bill Del Baño of the FBI Baltimore Field Office says there is no credible information to tie the incident to terrorism. Spokesperson for the U.S. Coast Guard says the search for survivors continues. Many fear, however, efforts may instead end in a recovery mission. Hanging objects from the collapsed structure, freezing conditions, and limited visibility are making rescue efforts dangerous for search crews. The fire department says several vehicles, including a tractor-trailer, have fallen into the water moments after the cargo ship struck the bridge. President Joe Biden, in an address, says all federal resources needed by Baltimore will be sent to their aid.
Gets the support it needs. It's my intention that federal government will pay for the entire cost of reconstructing that bridge, and I expect the Congress to support my effort. This is going to take some time. The people of Baltimore can count on us, though, to stick with them at every step of the way until the port is reopened and the bridge is rebuilt.
Ship traffic and transportation have been suspended to pave way for search and rescue operations. The Key Bridge spans across the Patapsco River. It is the outermost crossing of the Baltimore Harbor. The 47-year-old bridge is an essential connecting point of Interstate I-695 or the Baltimore Beltway. 30,000 vehicles cross it daily. That's approximately 11.5 million per year. In Baltimore, Maryland, Rosel Feria for Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Our team in Maryland asked residents of the city of Baltimore how they feel about the Key Bridge collapse that shocked the nation Tuesday. In Baltimore, here's Mark Castillo.
Residents of Baltimore, along with the rest of the country, woke up to the shocking news that the 47-year-old Francis Scott Key Bridge is gone. A cargo ship smashed into it, sending bridge workers and vehicles into the Patapsco River. Medical assistant and Baltimore resident Jalen Hicklin says he thought a historic bridge could withstand such an impact. He was, however, saddened that it didn't.
I honestly was shocked, honestly. When I did my research this morning, I found out the bridge was built in 1977, and I would have thought it was mainly a historic bridge or whatever, meaning that it was mainly like built to be strong or whatever. Come to find out, it isn't. And on top of that, I got woke at 1 o'clock this morning by my mother-in-law who was yelling and everything, asking we was on the bridge, but no, we was in a bed and everything. This is a sad situation, honestly.
Roland Dulai says he feels for the victims of the accident.
I feel horrible for those people, and those who survive. It's going to be a very traumatic experience for them, and they will not forget for the rest of their lives.
Dulai says he will never feel the same driving on any bridge from now on.
Yeah, now every time I cross a bridge, I'll remember that one and makes me nervous, I guess, in crossing a bridge. So I'll probably make it faster when I use the bridge, or any bridge for that matter.
Esthetician Abigail Mendoza, who lives a few miles from the Key Bridge, says she literally felt the impact of the crash.
I live about maybe a 15-minute drive from the bridge, and I could feel the house shake a little bit, and I could hear very faintly the sound of a rumble. And I actually thought that we were having like a minor earthquake.
Mendoza says this tragedy has left her thinking the entire day about the victims and their families.
Throughout today, I've really honestly been thinking about them, and I hope that the search and rescue efforts aren't completely in vain. I hope they're able to find as many people, everyone, if they possibly can. That has particularly saddened me.
She says looking ahead, it will take a while for the city to recover. Mark Castillo from Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
In other news, Tuvalu has confirmed their commitment to the Security and Climate Migration Pact with Australia following Prime Minister Feleti Teo's decision not to alter the agreement. The agreement announced in November faced uncertainty when Prime Minister Teo raised concerns about a provision potentially impacting Tuvalu's sovereignty. Tuvalu's government has now given its approval and will proceed with the domestic consultation process to ratify and enact the treaty promptly. Australia's Pacific Minister Pat Conroy has reassured Tuvalu of its sovereignty, even though there have been no amendments to the treaty's wording.
A Tunisian court has sentenced 4 individuals to death over the assassination of opposition leader Chokri Belaid 11 years ago. 23 individuals were charged in connection with Belaid's murder, with sentences ranging from 2 to 120 years, while 5 individuals were acquitted. Chokri Belaid, who served as the Secretary General of the Democratic Patriots Party, was fatally shot in his car outside his residence on February 6, 2013. He was a vocal critic of the ruling religious extremist party in Tunisia at the time, accusing it of disregarding violence against secularists. His funeral triggered one of the biggest political crises in Tunisian history, with around 1 million people participating in street protests.
U.S. authorities have alleged that Mongolian ex-Prime Minister Subatbat Batbal bought his 2 luxury apartments in New York City with corrupted funds. Prosecutors are eyeing to seize the $14 million prime real estate owned by Batbal in Midtown Manhattan, alleging that he was able to buy the properties after his family-controlled firm was awarded a major mining contract. The prosecutors added that millions of dollars from the mining contract were siphoned into foreign bank accounts through illegitimate shell companies, accusing that some of the money was spent on the purchase of the Manhattan flats. In a statement, FBI Assistant Director in Charge James Smith said that Batbal's alleged behavior of personally profiting off of public corruption comes at the expense of the law-abiding citizens he governed. However, in another statement, the 60-year-old politician's lawyer, Oren Snyder, said, and I quote, Mr. Batbal looks forward to his day in court where he will have the opportunity to defend himself against these unfounded claims.
France has announced that it would provide Ukraine with more military aid. The French Ministry of Defense previously disclosed that it would produce 600 AASM-guided bombs this year and has plans to double the number. The French government said that it would send 100 bombs as military aid to Kyiv by the end of March. Meanwhile, French Minister Sébastien Lecornu noted Paris intends to produce 100,000 shells this year, where 80,000 of which should be supplied to Ukraine. Paris also disclosed that it has plans to allocate additional military aid to Ukraine. This includes armored vehicles, personnel carriers, and reconnaissance vehicles.
Meanwhile, the Houthis claim that they have once again targeted commercial shipping in the Red Sea, including British and U.S. vessels. This has brought negative impacts on the Israeli trade route of the Eilat port. RT's Maria Finoshina reports.
No evidence at all that no evidence at all because Ukraine was involved in this because Ukraine was not involved.
Russia says the U.S. push to absolve Kiev of any responsibility in the terror attack in Moscow suggests Washington itself may have had a hand in the atrocity. Yemen's Houthi fighters announced new attacks on American and British trade interests in retaliation for their support of Israel's war in Gaza. Our correspondent witnesses how the Red Sea strikes have devastated businesses that relied on Israeli ports.
The port of Eilat on the Red Sea. Once a busy harbor, it is dead calm now. Since November, when the Yemen-based Houthis group joined the war with Israel, attacking all ships coming in or out, all activities have been stopped here.
A controversial sock is removed from sale from one of Malaysia's biggest store chains after it whipped up a religious, economic and political storm in the country.
In other news, a UN Children's Agency spokesman says teens in Gaza are losing their will to live. James Elder says some young people say they would be better off dead. Thomas I. Likeness reports.
There's no optimism among the youth of Gaza. The desperate conditions of the Israel-Hamas war have robbed them of hope. James Elder of the UN Children's Agency says some teens have said it would be better if they didn't survive.
UNICEF sat with adolescents, several of whom said they're so desperate for this nightmare to end, that they hoped to be killed.
Everything has been taken from them. They have no home. This is what's left of where they used to live. There's no routine in their lives, no school, not even food. Drinking water is scarce. The lineups to quench their thirst are long. This is 10-year-old Rana. She says she just wants to live in a safe place. She laments that her dreams of an education and becoming a doctor have been shattered. Elder says a daily diet of this kind of life has led to a hopelessness that pervades the youth in the territory.
The unspeakable is regularly said in Gaza, from teenage girls saying they hope they are killed to end their nightmare, to a child being told that little boy or girl is the last surviving member of their family.
Occasionally, there are events like this, street performers trying to provide some relief to children from the horrors of war, but the distraction is temporary. The conflict goes on, and with it, the images of suffering that young people witness. Children being treated for the injuries of war. The lucky ones are stitched up, others lose limbs, their sight, their ability to walk, even their lives. A daily struggle to get something to eat, stampedes for airdrop supplies with no guarantee that everyone will get something. The funerals are being held continuously. More than 32,000 people have perished since the war began. Earth-moving equipment covers up the graves. It's a daily reality that has evaporated any hope many young people had. And neither side in this war is prepared to lay down their arms and call a truce. Thomas I. Likeness from Atanang Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
About 4,000 experts from 75 different nations gathered in Sirius to take part in the annual Russian Nuclear Forum to discuss initiatives on nuclear energy and areas in cooperation. RT's Murad Gazdev reports.
In a world desperate to stop climate change, the atom will undoubtedly be one of the keys.
Fourth-generation nuclear reactors. This is a big theme here at Atom Expo 2024. These reactors are safer, are more sustainable, reduce the risk of nuclear proliferation, and above all, much more ecological because the waste can be reused as new fuel. These reactors are due to come online in 2027, cementing Russia's position as the undisputed leader in the export of nuclear technologies. Russia is currently constructing more nuclear power plants abroad than all other countries put together. And it shows there are representatives from 70 countries here, thousands and thousands of people, despite the difficult geopolitical situation in the world. The numbers back it up. At the 13 Atom Expo forums, deals worth $63 billion have been signed.
But the company isn't resting on its laurels. It's evolving and diversifying.
The prospects for the industry are certainly bright. We all are, and will be in the near future in a period of electricity shortage. All sources of generation that are capable of generating electricity in reasonable economic parameters will surely be in demand. The wind energy division of Rosatom has developed domestic technologies since 2020, and since then has mastered this technology as we manage our own supply chain and manufacture our own equipment.
Rosatom has also expanded into robotics, automatization, transportation, and more. Nuclear medicine is another revolutionary field, with great advances in diagnosis and cancer treatment being made.
I'm astonished with nuclear medicine in Russia.
really. And I would like to have all those isotopes in Serbia to help my patients out there. We are right now in a project of building a new institute for oncology, where the nuclear medicine will have a lot of space, much more than it ever had. You have right now 25, I think, isotopes. Then you're working on the new 5. Treating breast cancer with the isotopes, it was science fiction 10 years ago. So Russia, it's my opinion, is already in the 22nd century, and we want to be at least near.
Even in these uncertain times, thousands of delegates and delegations from 75 countries have come for this year's Atom Expo. There's wheeling and dealing, conferences, panels, seminars, all with a little Russian flavor. Morad Gazdiev, RT.
Chinese President Xi Jinping meets with representatives of United States businesses. Analysts believe Beijing is seeking to woo foreign investment and reassure American firms in the face of a slowing economy. President Xi says China and the United States should have more exchanges, more communication, and more cooperation.
Up next, lightning claims 4 lives in Mozambique. Police chase a loose ostrich in South Korea. And Elon Musk announces AI chatbot for X. Mata ng Agila International will be back after a short break. Don't go away.
It's good to be back! Welcome to Season 3 ng Magandang Araw!
Magandang araw, magandang araw. Magandang araw, magandang araw.
Sa una nating episode, nandito tayo sa Anilao, Batangas.
Magandang araw, magandang araw.
Excited ako dahil makakasama natin ang ating first guest.
Akala nyo, walang bayad dito. Ha? I did not even have to sing or dance.
Oh,
Papakainin lang niya ako ng cheesecake mamaya.
Cheesecake lang.
Ganun lang ang kapalit.
Sasama niya tayo sa kanyang paboritong hobby.
Magandang araw, magandang araw. Magandang araw, magandang araw. Magandang araw, magandang araw.
Wala pa nag-i-interview sa akin, ha? Kaya nga! Wala pa, magdahan-dahan ka sa mga tanong mo, ha? Baka ma-eject ka dyan sa upuan mo.
Kaya, tara na!
Good night! Magandang araw, magandang araw, magandang araw. Let's get together, Sunday 25. Sunday 25.
Milyong pasasalamat sa inyo mga ka-Net25 dahil umabot ng 1 milyon ang mga subscriber ng Net25 YouTube channel. Let's subscribe together here on Net25.
A strong magnitude 6.7 earthquake has struck Vanuatu. The United States Geological Survey noted no tsunami threats for the U.S. West Coast, British Columbia, and Alaska. The Pacific Tsunami Center assured that no tsunami impacts are expected. The agency disclosed the quake was located at 20.90 degrees south latitude and 173.80 longitude. The Oceania nation stands aside the Pacific Ring of Fire and are characterized by active volcanoes and frequent earthquakes.
Thunderstorms have claimed at least 4 lives in the southeastern African nation of Mozambique, and heavy rain, which began Sunday, has affected some 50,000 people. Diane Roson reports.
Mozambique, local media reports that the 4 victims died after being struck by lightning. In the past few days, between 100 and 300 millimeters of rain has fallen on the country. In the capital of Maputo, whole neighborhoods have been flooded. People are mopping up and assessing the damage. 27 evacuation centers have been opened. More than 7,600 people are staying in the temporary shelters. The storms knocked out power to about 15,000 people. More rain is expected for the next 2 weeks. Diane Rosan for Matanang Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
5 people were injured at the 2024 Nanjing International New Energy Vehicles Exhibition after an exhibit vehicle from Zeekr suddenly started and collided with them. The official account of Zeekr confirmed that after inspection, the accident occurred due to mismanagement of exhibit vehicles. The exhibit cars were in the parked and comfort mode instead of in the designated exhibition mode, with the car keys within the effective range. It added that Zeekr has initiated a nationwide inspection of its exhibit vehicles urgently to prevent the incident from happening again. Public security and hospitals reportedly rushed quickly to the scene following the incident, rushing the 5 injured individuals to the hospital. 4 have reportedly left the hospital without major issues and complications, while 1 remains hospitalized for further observation.
The Seongnam Police Department have chased an ostrich on the loose after escaping from a zoo. Officers said the flightless bird spent an hour dodging vehicles in heavy traffic before they captured it. Operatives said they trapped the bird using a net at a car park. Bug City Zoo owner Choi Jun Ir-Yunju said that the 4-year-old ostrich named Tadori was safe and eventually arrived at the zoo in stable condition.
For the 3rd time in 2 months, protesting farmers faced off with riot police in Brussels. The farmers demonstrated Tuesday outside a meeting of EU agriculture ministers. Carlo Valdez reports.
Angry farmers pelted police with eggs and sprayed them with liquid manure as hundreds of tractors jammed the streets of central Brussels. The farmers set fire to tires and hay bales. Other demonstrators threw Molotov cocktails. Police responded with tear gas and a water cannon in a bid to disperse the crowd. Farmers have been mounting rolling protests in countries across the EU over a long list of requirements they say are depressing revenue. The latest proposed concessions include a commitment to slash red tape and give farmers more flexibility in complying with green regulations while maintaining a high level of environmental ambition. Environmental groups say that is a big step backwards. The latest in a string of concessions on agriculture come less than 3 months before bloc-wide elections for the European Parliament. Surveys predict the vote will result in a surge of support for far-right parties that are using farmer discontent as part of their campaigning. Carlo Valdez for Matanang Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Taiwan has bolstered its naval defenses, commissioning 2 new ships amid escalating tensions with China, which has been increasing its military activities near the island. This comes after Taiwan's defense ministry reportedly detected 9 Chinese planes and 6 ships operating around the island between Tuesday and Wednesday this week. The newly commissioned vessels are part of the first batch of 6 domestically produced Tuoqiang-class corvettes equipped with stealth capabilities. While relatively compact, these ships boast impressive speed and maneuverability and are armed with a variety of missiles and deck guns designed to counter larger Chinese vessels.
这些成就都一再的证明，台湾自主造舰的能量，还有我们守护民主自由的决心。高效能舰艇不仅具有逆中性、航行稳定性，更是海军首型具备防空能力的小型舰船。
Elon Musk has announced that XAI's chatbot Grok is set to be rolled out to all premium subscribers on X. This is part of Grok being an open source that enables researchers and developers to build on the model between competition from OpenAI and other tech giants. Earlier this month, Musk sued OpenAI for failing to remain as an open source after the ChatGPT maker strayed from its founding agreement in partnering with Microsoft. Musk helped found OpenAI in 2015 and agreed to be a nonprofit company aimed at developing artificial intelligence for the benefit of humanity.
The Hejin Flying Car technology company has bought exclusive rights to make and use the tech behind a flying car. Aircar aircraft originally developed and successfully test-flown the flying car in Europe. The flying car is powered by a BMW engine and normal fuel and flew for 35 minutes between two Slovakian airports in 2021. Aircar took just over 2 minutes to transform from a car into an aircraft. Now, vehicles made based on its design will be used by Hejin Flying Car within a specific geographical region of China. Coming right up, Princess Kate received waves of support on social media after cancer diagnosis. Taylor Swift's father avoids assault charges in Australia. And the Dragon Ball theme park is set to open in Saudi Arabia. Catch more news in sports and entertainment when we return.
Mga viral video ng totoong senaryo, mga eksklusibong pangyayari na sa amin nyo lang pong napanood at mga expose na nagbigay sa atin ng babala. Kaya kung kayo po'y may sumbong at reklamo, mag-text lamang sa 0915-415-1035, mag-email sa responde@net25.com at magpadala ng mensahe sa ating pong Facebook page at Net25TV. Yan ang tatak Responde. May aksyon na, may solusyon pa.
Let's net together sa Net25. Sa Net25.
Ba't ba napakainit ang ulo mo?
Hindi ba init ang ulo ko? Mainit ang panahon.
Oo nga pala. Tag-init na nga pala ngayon. At dahil dyan, may tips kami para sa'yo. Ngayong Fire Prevention Month.
Bunutin sa saksakan ng mga appliances pagkatapos gamitin.
Iwasan ang pagkakasaksak ng maraming devices sa isang extension cord.
Itabi ang mga flammable items sa ligtas na lugar.
Laging isara ang gas tank kapag hindi na ginagamit.
Magkaroon ng fire extinguisher.
Stay cool and chill.
Huwag makisabay sa init ng panahon.
Support has flooded social media after the Princess of Wales revealed her cancer diagnosis just weeks after the British monarch announced his cancer treatment. From the United Kingdom, Arabel Celestino reports.
A wave of support has flooded social media for Britain's Princess Catherine after she bravely revealed her battle with cancer. This news just comes weeks after King Charles III also announced he was undergoing cancer treatment. The candid disclosure marks a difficult time for the royal family. In a moving video message, the princess spoke openly about her preventative chemotherapy, aiming to dispel weeks of speculation about her health. Royal commentator Richard Fitzwilliams says the situation creates immense challenges. Both the King and Princess Catherine are facing significant health battles, making it difficult to plan future engagements.
That so many people will have been so moved by the way that she conducted herself during that 2-minute plus broadcast. But there's no doubt at all that it's a very, very difficult time for the institution of monarchy, because how you plan, which is what it's all about with being seen to be believed, as the Queen Elizabeth once said, how you plan for the future, it's very difficult.
The public's reaction is one of shock and sympathy, as evidenced by this American tourist visiting Buckingham Palace.
The news.
Well, obviously, I'm just completely shocked, and it's crazy that I was actually right in front of Buckingham Palace when I found out, and it's just shocking considering King Charles was already just diagnosed with cancer, and then all the rumors and speculations about Kate, and finally we know what happened, and it's just complete shock.
While the royal family grapples with these health issues, another disturbing trend has emerged: a surge of online conspiracy theories. Experts say this highlights a growing problem: declining trust in traditional media, coupled with the ease of spreading misinformation online. Professor Bob Phillips, a pediatric oncology specialist, emphasizes the challenges in discussing cancer types without specific details. He also clarifies the meaning of cancer had been present in the princess's statement.
It's difficult to say within the setting of a press release exactly what that means. I guess my feeling on that is that means that they think it's fully excised, it's been taken out completely. But that's very speculative. It's not a phrase that has a defined medical meaning.
Professor Bob Phillips underscores the importance of individual health, not just age, when considering how someone might manage cancer treatment. He also reminds us to be respectful of the princess's privacy while offering support. While many questions remain unanswered, one thing is clear: the royal family is facing a period of significant health challenges. The public's outpouring of support demonstrates the deep connection many feel with the monarchy. Reporting from London, United Kingdom, this is Arabelle Celestino for Matanang Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz vows that Germany will do everything necessary to ensure the security of the Euro 2024 football tournament. This is after ISIS claimed responsibility for the attack in Moscow that killed at least 137 people and injured 100 more. Berlin announced border controls to support Europe's increasing security against attacks. Chancellor Scholz speaks before the crowd in Ljubljana, explaining there is nothing unusual about its decision to control Germany's border for the Euro 2024 tournament.
Zu den Maßnahmen gehören auch die jetzt angekündigten Grenzkontrollen, die übrigens nichts Ungewöhnliches sind, sondern auch bei anderen Großereignissen dieser Art in der Vergangenheit stattgefunden haben. Das ist ein ganz bewährtes Instrumentarium, das wir in Europa haben und das wir hier einsetzen und das eben der Sicherheit dient. Ich glaube, das versteht auch jeder. Wir werden alles tun, was für die Sicherheit der Bürgerinnen und Bürger erforderlich ist.
Chancellor Scholz says Germany is looking forward to hosting the sports event that brings together the international football scene peacefully.
Taylor Swift's father escapes charges of assault to a paparazzo in Australia. Scott Swift, the pop star's father, was accused by a paparazzi member, Ben McDonald, of striking him in the face last month as Scott and Taylor were onboarding their yacht. McDonald alleged the Bad Blood singer was already inside the car when her father charged in and attacked him without provocation. However, a representative of Taylor Swift refuted, saying the two individuals were pushing their way towards the singer, grabbing at her security personnel and threatening to throw a female staff member into the water. After a month-long investigation, the New South Wales Police decided that no further action be taken regarding the case. Deemed as Papa Swift by fans, Mr. Swift reportedly left Australia shortly after the alleged assault incident as he was accompanying Taylor on her Global Eras tour.
The show Quiet on Set is set to dive deeper into the dark side of kids' TV in its upcoming episode. Gerald Blanco has the story.
A surprise fifth episode of Quiet on Set, the dark side of kids' TV, entitled Breaking the Silence, will be launching next month. The new episode of the docu-series by Investigation Discovery, or ID, will be building off the revelations explored in the first 4 episodes, with Nickelodeon stars Drake Bell, Giovanni Samuels, Brian Hearn, Tracy Brown, and the newest interviewee Shane Leons on discussion about the industry then and now. Bell notably came forward for the first time in the previous episodes of the series, revealing that he was the minor that accused acting coach Brian Peck of sexual abuse, resulting in Peck getting arrested in 2004. Following the release of the docu-series, directors Beth and Rich Correll, whose letters are defending Peck in his court case, expressed their apologies. In the statement, the Corrells said, and I quote, "There are no words to express how awful we feel for being on the wrong side of a horrific situation and the trauma it cost you, Drake. We are devastated that we unwittingly supported the unsupportable." In another statement, a Nickelodeon spokesperson responded regarding Bell, and I quote, "Now that Drake Bell has disclosed his identity as the plaintiff in the 2004 case, we are dismayed and saddened to learn of the trauma he has endured, and we commend and support the strength required to come forward." According to ID, 16 million viewers across cable network ID and other streamers have watched the first 4 episodes of Quiet on Set, following its release this month. Gerald Blanco for Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Good news, Japanese manga and Akira Toriyama fans. The Middle East-based Kidia investment company just announced that it will build the world's first Dragon Ball theme park in Saudi Arabia. The official Dragon Ball website says the theme park will boast of a whopping size of 500,000 square meters and will feature 7 iconic areas from the original series. The website showcases concept art of the famous Dragon Ball sites, the Kami House, Capsule Corporation, and Beerus's Planet. At its center, Kidia is eyeing to build a 70-meter-high Shenron, the iconic green eternal dragon from the show, with a large-scale roller coaster inside being among the 5 rides within the park. Hotels and restaurants will be available at the park so fans can better immerse themselves in the world of Dragon Ball. The announcement comes just weeks after the passing of its famous creator, Akira Toriyama, prompting fans from all around the world to mourn and pay tribute. The Dragon Ball comic series, debuting in 1984, follows the story of a boy named Son Goku in his quest to find 7 Dragon Balls that grant superpowers.
Rebel Wilson reveals that Sacha Baron Cohen is the star that has been threatening her to stop her upcoming memoir, Rebel Rising, from getting published. Wilson has previously hinted on Instagram how there is one star whom she had worked with that has gone as far as hiring a crisis PR team to stop the press from revealing his identity. Rebel alleges that the threats started after she claimed that there would be a chapter dedicated to exposing Baron Cohen's behavior in her book. The Pitch Perfect star let the cat out of the bag in an Instagram update, naming Baron Cohen as the culprit. Wilson and Baron Cohen starred together in The Brothers Grimsby in 2016, where Wilson alleges that Baron Cohen had been harassing her. However, a spokesperson for Baron Cohen denied the allegations, saying, and I quote, "While we appreciate the importance of speaking out, these demonstrably false claims are directly contradicted by extensive detailed evidence, including contemporaneous documents, film footage, and eyewitness accounts from those present before, during, and after the production of The Brothers Grimsby."
Halfway through the week, we're sending you off with a quote from American record producer Pharrell Williams. Some people say there's nothing new under the sun. I still think that there's room to create, and intuition doesn't necessarily come from under the sun. It comes from within.
I think it connects to the fact that sometimes we feel like we are incapable to do more, but we can always do more, we can always improve, we can always create.
Yeah, I actually believe otherwise, that there is everything under the sun. And before we say goodnight, for those of you still on the road right this moment, please don't fail to tune in to Agila FM 95.5.
You can also catch the latest updates on our social media channels. I am Gianna Llanes.
I am Nina Richie Alago Flores. This is Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point. Thank you for choosing Mata ng Agila International as your trusted news source, keeping you connected to the world and on point with stories from around the globe. Follow, like, and subscribe to @Net25 TV.